You've been told the truth about Tupac and Diddy for decades, but what if everything you believed was carefully managed to keep you quiet? Netflix just dropped a documentary that's tearing open wounds the industry thought were buried, and 50 Cent isn't holding back anymore.
I told you can't trust these. Now, Puffy done kill Tupac, man.
50 Cent went on stage last year and said this.
Maybe I said because he got Tupac.
You know, and I know, that everyone believes that Diddy was involved in both these shootings and had a direct involvement in your brother's death. That is what the streets have said for 27 years. That's why 50 Cent said it. That's why Eminem has said similar stuff. Would you be comfortable saying that you believe Diddy had nothing to do with it?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable saying that because I don't know. If you look at all the theories, the theory involving him is quite high on the list.
Ron, any comments? Any comments on the trial so far? Any opening statements?
He's having his day.
He's having his day?
He's having his day. We trust the justice system.
Thank you, sir.
For 27 years, the streets whispered the same name whenever Tupac's death came up in conversation. Eminem hinted at it. 50 Cent screamed it from stages. But now Tupac's own family is speaking, and what they're saying changes everything.
So we don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect. But I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah. No, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
The documentary doesn't just point fingers randomly. It digs into the relationship between Tupac and Diddy, a bond that started friendly but twisted into something dark and competitive. Back in the 90s, East Coast and West Coast weren't just geographical labels, they were battle lines, and the tension between these two icons sat right at the center of it all. Tupac's cousin William remembers watching the friendship crack under pressure, rivalry replacing respect. And here's the part people miss. It wasn't just about music anymore.
Isn't it a bad boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind.
The series pulls in testimonies from people who were there, who watched it all unfold in real time. Former Bad Boy president Kirk Burroughs recently alleged that Diddy had him hiring people and arranging cars to head to Las Vegas right before Tupac was shot. He's now publicly stated he believes Diddy had involvement, though nothing has been proven in court. William, Tupac's cousin, doesn't assign direct blame, but makes it clear the tension was real, deep, and impossible to ignore. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, adds another layer, claiming the competitive pressure was so intense it may have pushed things past the breaking point.
And change Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I get around, talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirts Pac had. Which, all right, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something else, something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with them. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you?
And that's where it gets messy. Gene describes how Diddy allegedly copied everything Tupac did. The Versace shirts Tupac wore first, Diddy bought the same ones. The women Tupac was linked to, Diddy allegedly pursued them too. It wasn't admiration, it was obsession. And according to those who were close, it went deeper than anyone realized at the time.
I'm going to take this case because Keefe D is people that he name dropped that you want to see if they're going to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm curious to see how they plan to deal with the case, because he, in his own admissions, mentions other people. You know, are they going to say what happened to these people? Yes, Puffy being one of them. I don't know where that's going to lead, but I do believe there were accomplices. And I don't think all of them have been looked at. So, you know, because over the years, you know, it's a lot of years, you know, amongst the family, we talk, we want to figure it out too. We thinking certain things too. So, you know, we're waiting to see if we can trust this process. I feel like it's bigger because I haven't heard anything about that part of the story from the prosecutor's office. I haven't heard anything about Puffy from the prosecutor's office, even though Keefe D implicates him on these videos that they claim they're using to indict him. Even you got a Crip affiliate from somewhere, but you still not going to talk about the guy that he mentions by name on the thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's exhausting. You know, or you know, I'm waiting to see how far they go, because that's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's talking about. What about Puffy? You know, so it would be weird that the prosecutor's office wouldn't know and address it. That's why I don't know whether to trust.
Tupac's brother, Tupac Shakur, has been vocal about wanting answers. He believes every piece of this story, every person connected to that era, needs to be re-examined if the full truth is ever going to come out, and he's not subtle about it. When Keefe D, the man recently arrested for Tupac's murder, named Diddy in his own confessions, Mopra made it clear he's waiting to see if investigators will actually follow that thread or let it disappear quietly.
Got so many conflicting stories, right? You got some people that say that, you know, Tupac was moving in the hospital. He was, you know, talking in the hospital. But you being there, from your point of view, how was Tupac condition?
By the time I got there, remember, I was coming from LA. So by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth. So he ain't talk to me, not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. I always, you know, that's one of my, going to be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, you know, with his big old eyes, you know, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
Something else I want to ask you, because I think it would be appropriate before we get off the Vegas thing, last thing, because I know I did an interview with Napoleon, and they all gave me their reasons why Afeni pulled the plug because of his condition. But I mean, it would be more appropriate since you was his brother. Afeni, her decision to pull the plug on him, from your point of view, what made her pull the plug? Respectfully.
Because he had already flatlined a couple of times. And she didn't want him to keep going through that. So I think it was like twice before she, you know, let him go. And that's reasonable. You know what I mean? When I was, you know, when I found out.
But then there's this haunting detail that Mopram shared. In Tupac's final moments at the hospital, tubes in his throat, unable to speak, Tupac was trying desperately to communicate something. Mopram watched his brother shake the bed, eyes wide, fighting to get words out that never came. To this day, he doesn't know what Tupac was trying to say, and that unknown message still haunts him. Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mother, made the heartbreaking decision to let him go after he flatlined twice. It wasn't an easy choice, but she didn't want him suffering through it again.
Want to get robbed at Quad Studios?
Well, I don't think I'm not going to say he knew exactly he was going to get robbed, but he knew he was going to get dealt with. Because he was up there with Andre Harrell, and he was with Jimmy Henchman. And even though I think Pac may have owed Jimmy some money, or he was being disrespectful with Jimmy, and Jimmy ain't the type of dude that you was going to be disrespectful for, because he had some real wolves. And Jimmy was about it himself. You know what I mean? So now, in that essence, Puff is up there in the office with him. They know they about to deal with Pac. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the extent that Jimmy told him what they was going to do to Pac, or he's going to get dealt with or whatever like that. But I know.
Now, let's rewind to 1994, to Quad Studios, the night that changed everything. Tupac walked into that building and was ambushed, shot multiple times, robbed. Diddy, Biggie, and others were reportedly in the same building that night, though authorities never connected them to the attack. Still, Tupac's public statements afterward made it clear he had doubts, he had suspicions, and those doubts fueled years of speculation. Diddy has always denied any involvement, but the documentary revisits the incident with fresh context. Gene Deal suggests the shooting reflected the volatile, high-pressure climate of that time, where loyalty was currency and betrayal was always lurking.
He had another bracelet that was like a bicycle chain with charms on it, right? I was gonna say that, all right? He had a diamond chain on with the chain with diamonds in each links going through it, right? He had a big stone on the diamond ring and a smaller stone, one for $35,000 and the one for $20,000, all right? So even Stretch that did this shit, I took his bracelet too, and changed it and put my man's name on it and took off the name on it. So motherfuckers claiming that this even
so hold on, homie.
Claimed that he was Tupac's stepdaddy, wrote me and wanted me to have my people meet him and give him back the chain and shit, talking about some redemption. You know, them niggas ain't had.
So hold on, hey Dex. So that day that happened, November 30th, 1994, it wasn't just Tupac and Freddie Nichols. Stretch was with them too?
Stretch was with them too, yeah. Stretch set the whole shit up. He was in cahoots. He was giving us play-by-play where they was at. On their way there, he was in communication with Jimmy and shit. You know, Jimmy promised him two big eggs and shit.
Wow, so he sold Pac out for a quarter brick, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And
Killboy too.
Wow. Yeah.
In 2011, Dexter Isaac came forward claiming he was involved in the Quad Studios shooting and alleged he acted on orders from a music industry figure who was present that night. His confession introduced yet another twist to an already tangled story, though his account has been disputed and remains unproven in court.
On one of your walls, and it had Tupac on it wearing a Henchman Entertainment t-shirt. Now, a few years ago, there was a guy named Dexter Isaac that came forward who claimed that you were connected to the Tupac shooting. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, 100%. I've never ducked from answering any Tupac questions, which I could understand if I don't know how Quad Studio morphed into, like I was in Vegas and was part of the shooters that actually ended in his demise. Let me say, me and Tupac were friends. And me and him were friends. I had nothing against Tupac. I liked him. He was younger than me. I'm sure that he looked up to me. There's many moments that me and Pac had that were very intimate, where he's talked to me about things that he was afraid of or things that he loved to do and all of those kind of things. Here it is, you have a prosecutor and you have a guy who's in jail for life. When they pulled Dexter down to interview him in regards to what he knew about me and Tupac and so on and so forth. But I have no doubt at this point that Dexter probably was the guy or one of the assailants on Tupac. But Dexter's story just doesn't make sense. Dexter tells a story that I wanted a ring for my fiance, and so I tell him to get the diamond ring from Tupac so I can give it to my fiance, and so on and so forth. He tells this magical story. The only person that can believe such a story is Todd Kaminsky, who was the prosecutor who was trying to make.
Jimmy Henchman, the man Isaac allegedly implicated, has strongly and repeatedly denied any connection to the Quad Studios incident. He's gone on record multiple times rejecting the allegations entirely, calling the story fabricated. His denials add to the competing narratives that make this chapter of hip-hop history so contested and unresolved.
Came to L.A., you used to give him protection, right, from the Southside Crips because he was scared of Suge Knight?
It speaks for itself, my brother. He was playing chess, and I guess we was playing checkers, cuz.
So he was really scared of Suge Knight like that, yo?
That's what it looked. That's what it sounded like, yeah.
But here's what keeps this story alive. Gene Deal recalls the fear being real after Tupac released Hit 'Em Up, a track so aggressive it made threats feel less like lyrics and more like promises. The tension wasn't just industry gossip anymore. It was dangerous, unpredictable, and everyone in the circle felt it.
Yeah, so there's Keefe D claims that there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions, but most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there. Things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about the welfare is his safety. And he tells Keefe D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. Tupac's on vinyl talking about killing all of our kids when they grow up. And, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of them. And Keefe D's like, that's no problem. That's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefe D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefe D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Before you say that, there's a couple things I want to talk about from Vegas. So when you say that Keefe got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, now I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. It's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefe D, he's like, yeah, that's the agreed amount, was $1 million.
So according to Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac?
Both of them. Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefe D, he says, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the talking that he was doing. But it was really about Suge because it was Suge's muscle.
Then we get to Las Vegas, September 1996, the night of the Mike Tyson fight. Kirk Burroughs has reflected on strange details from that evening, including how the group traveled separately, decisions that seemed off even then. The documentary notes that Diddy was never named a suspect by Las Vegas authorities and has consistently denied involvement, but the whispers never stopped. According to the series, Keefe D claims Diddy offered him $1 million to take care of Suge Knight and Tupac, though this has never been proven and Diddy has not been charged. Keefe D is currently on trial for Tupac's murder, and his confessions have reignited questions about who else might have been involved.
To try to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. Investigators early on already zeroed in on Keefe D because he is the uncle of Orlando Anderson, who was the main suspect in Tupac's unaliving. During this time, they believe that Keefe D was also in Vegas, and this is things that we have heard him say over the years in his multiple interviews, and one reason why he's on trial for the unaliving of Tupac. But then investigators really started to get curious when they found out that Keefe D was at the Peterson Museum the night that Biggie was unalived. Back in 1997, at the height of this investigation, police actually raided Keefe D's house for gang activity, and they seized one of the vehicles that were at his house because it matched the Chevy Impala description of the person who drove away after Biggie was unalived.
Keefe D was a shot caller for the Southside Crips and the uncle of Orlando Anderson. It was determined that Keefe D had been in Las Vegas along with his nephew Orlando the night Tupac was shot. Additionally, Keefe D's name had come up in the original Biggie investigation when it was discovered that he was at the party at the Peterson and he had access to a Chevy Impala.
After Tupac was shot, there was rumors on the street that Bad Boy Records owed the Southside Crips $1 million.
After seizing Keefe D's vehicle and raiding his house for gang activity, this is when investigators would first try to question Keefe D if he had any involvement in Biggie's unaliving. And at this point in time, he really didn't talk, and he told them that they were...
Investigators noticed early on that Keefe D wasn't just connected to Tupac's case. He was also present at the Peterson Automotive Museum the night Big E was killed in 1997. Police raided his home during a gang investigation and seized a vehicle matching the description of the car used in the Big E shooting. The connections kept piling up, but charges were never filed until decades later. After Tupac died, rumors spread on the streets that Bad Boy Records owed the Southside Crips $1 million. Whether that's true or just another piece of urban legend, no one knows for sure, but the story stuck.
I heard from somebody that I know is not, I know she's not lying because she had no reason to lie. First, she told me she saw somebody doing something to him, and she walked in and she thought, he didn't, he never said nothing. He didn't even acknowledge her. So she's thinking she's under the radar. Next thing, she's hanging out in Miami. And, she comes back and says she don't know what happened and she woke up. And so,
What did she say she saw?
Someone giving him head. That's as far as I'll go. And then you could do the math.
Were they famous? Did she say they were famous?
Oh, no, they wasn't famous. They was an assistant working with her. Yeah. So.
An assistant. I want to guess, but I'm not.
She didn't tell me who no, it's not somebody that you would know. It was somebody that she came there. She worked doing photography and some type of media work where they shot ads and things like that. They were there to work and she walked in the wrong bathroom and caught the wrong thing.
Oh, wow.
So, if she got drugged, it probably was some videotapes made to tell her.
And just when you think the documentary covers all the public allegations, it digs into something more personal, more uncomfortable. There are claims, unproven and disputed, about compromising situations involving Diddy that witnesses allegedly saw. According to one account shared in the series, a woman working in photography walked into the wrong place at the wrong time in Miami and allegedly witnessed something she wasn't supposed to see. The story claims she was later drugged and possibly recorded to ensure her silence, though none of this has been verified or led to charges. The documentary doesn't just focus on Tupac's death, it also questions the relationship between Diddy and Big E, asking if that partnership was as straightforward as it seemed. People close to Big E suggest the dynamic was layered, complicated, shaped by loyalty but also ambition and tension. It's a reminder that even the most iconic alliances in hip-hop had cracks beneath the surface, cracks that might explain more than we've been told. So here's the question nobody's answering yet. If Keefe D named names in his confessions, and if investigators have all this information on record, why hasn't the full story been pursued in court? Tupac Shakur said it himself. He's waiting to see if this process can be trusted, or if it's just another chapter in a decades-long cover-up.